Hello friends, this is Adam with Movie Guy 365, and in today's video I'm going to give you 10 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray discs from Blue Underground that you need to own. If you're new to the channel, please hit the like button, subscribe, hit that bell notification. You can also find me over Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd at Movie Guy 365. Okay, in this video, I'm going to give you 10 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray discs from Blue Underground that you definitely need to own. For those that are unfamiliar, Blue Underground is one of the boutique labels that handles 4K discs, and they don't do necessarily mainstream titles. These are more obscure, cult classics, mostly focusing on horror, slasher flicks, and a little bit of sci-fi. And I feel that their entry into the 4K market is a welcome one because they really put a lot of care, and I would say arguably have some of the best transfers on 4K. They often implement both HDR and Dolby Vision. In fact, I can't think of one 4K disc that they put out that didn't have Dolby Vision. And something that is very important to audiophiles, they more often than not upgrade the audio to Dolby Atmos. So you're not getting your standard 5.1 or 2.0. They give you that full 4K experience that a lot of us fans really enjoy and appreciate. And of course, extras are a big part of what they put out for the 4K releases. This, I feel, is one of those labels that really knows what the consumer wants. They often deliver, and really, I think it's something that you definitely want as a collector, and especially if you've chosen to upgrade to the 4K format. Now, of course, the slight downside is this is being a boutique label and they put a lot of care in their discs. You're really going to pay a little bit extra more. It is a bit of a premium considering most of their releases go from about $32 to sometimes $40, $45 a release. But I really feel, especially if you're fans of the films that they put out, it's more than worth it. And of course, you can always wait for sales. And just for us collectors, they also sometimes put in some good lenticular covers. I think they really have a great product, and I am very anxious to see what Blue Underground puts out on 4K in the future, and it looks very bright for the label. For these 10 titles I'm about to go over, it's not necessarily really in any order, so my number one's not really a number one. It's just 10 movies from Blue Underground on 4K you should definitely check out, but I also encourage you in the comments to make recommendations of your own to me and to other people watching the video. So let's not waste any time, let's dive right into my first pick. As I mentioned, Blue Underground focuses a lot on just horror and slasher films, and this one is a somewhat recent release from the label, and that is the Toolbox Murders. If you're not familiar, the Toolbox Murders is about a crazy handyman that uses items from his toolbox to take care of people he doesn't really think are very savory. But there's plenty of hijinks to go on in this film, but for the 4K enthusiast, you're really getting a great presentation, and it's one of those movies you never thought would really be worthy of a 4K release, but thankfully Blue Underground does a great job with movies like this. And with the HDR and Dolby Vision, it gives you a nice boost to the color palette. It's, not the most colorful film out there, but I still feel it looks really good. And the Atmos track, it gives you a nice open soundstage. It doesn't fundamentally change the film, but I think the overall packaging of the HDR with the Atmos, it gives you a lot to enjoy here, especially if you're a fan of the film. And, I love movies like this that I'm very happy that Blue Underground really just gave it its proper due on 4K. So yeah, definitely check this one out. Focusing on another recent release from Blue Underground, I want to talk about Uncle Sam on 4K. I am very happy this very cheesy, great, just patriotic undead film has a great looking and sounding 4K disc. It's got the red, white, and blues and full vivid Dolby Vision, and of course a great Atmos track gives you a nice immersive soundstage. I love a movie like this because you will never see something handled by Universal or Paramount of this kind of caliber getting a great 4K disc. Of course, there's tons of extras on this one, and I think a very spiffy lenticular cover. Uncle Sam is a great entry into the back from the dead, kind of film genre. So I would check this one out. It's fun, it's gory, and there's a lot to enjoy here on 4K. For us old school horror fans, we really feel that the horror genre is really underrepresented on 4K, but thankfully we have labels such as Blue Underground to kind of pick up the slack. So for this entry, Two Evil Eyes, a bit of a horror anthology with Dario Argento and George Romero directing each of their own segments, I am very pleased that Blue Underground did a great job with the transfer, and the movie looks excellent. Of course, with HDR and Dolby Vision giving you the nice accentuation of colors, it refines the looks of the film very well, and of course you get a very solid upgrade with the Dolby Atmos. I am a big fan of horror anthologies as they are, but for a lesser known one such as Two Evil Eyes, it's great to see it get a good disc on 4K, and thankfully Blue Underground is there to give us movies like this, and hopefully one day many more. Usually when a boutique label puts out their first batch of 4K discs, it's kind of a make or break type of indication of what we can expect from the label going forward. And I feel that Maniac really set the bar and it kept it very high for the label. This movie looks fantastic on 4K with HDR and Dolby Vision doing all the right things here, and a very unexpected Atmos track. I was surprised that we got one, especially, with a movie like this. Does it fundamentally change the movie? No, but it's good that it's there. It gives you that nice option. And once again, for audio enthusiasts, you're really going to enjoy the results. Maniac is an excellent slasher flick. It's one that I don't feel enough people know about or really have given a chance to watch it. So if you want to give it a good blind buy on 4K, I think the Blue Underground disc is one way to go, and you should definitely enjoy it. Blue Underground's release of The House by the Cemetery, I feel, really does the film justice. The movie has a lot of great atmosphere going for it, and I think it's properly done here with a very restrained but respectful HDR and Dolby Vision grading. And the Atmos track, I feel, is a nice worthy addition to the overall film. The movie has a lot of great set pieces, and if you want to see it in its best possible light, I would absolutely recommend you check this one out. Whining Kid aside, it's still a really decent film, and I do think that Blue Underground takes movies like this, gives it the best possible presentation, and it's very enjoyable on 4K. So yeah, check out The House by the Cemetery. There are a lot of great movies in the vampire genre, but of course there are some that get overlooked, and Blue Underground, their release of Daughters of Darkness should definitely be seen. This movie looks absolutely great on 4K. The reds presented in this film just burst off the screen. This movie has such a great looking palette to it, and I just enjoy what they did here. It is fantastic, moody, atmospheric, once again, going back to House by the Cemetery. This has a good looking 4K disc. In fact, one of my favorites from Blue Underground. And the Atmos track is a worthy addition. It sounds great, and it stays respectful to the true nature of the film. Daughters of Darkness, I highly recommend as a movie. It is a good entry into the vampire subgenre. So yeah, check out the 4K disc from Blue Underground. When it comes to the zombie subgenre of horror films, Blue Underground's release of Falchis Zombie is just fantastic. It's one of their earlier 4K releases, and it still holds up very well. I enjoy the extra bit of detail, the goriness, and just the look of the zombies. I feel with the 4K resolution really giving you that extra bit of detail. And of course, a nice, respectful HDR Dolby Vision grading just rounds things out very nicely. The Atmos upgrade is good. It's something that it makes the film a little bit more enjoyable if you're an audiophile. And I feel Zombie as a film, not a lot of attention was given to it on the home formats. It really, I feel, was given its proper respect on 4K. And for Blue Underground to do this film justice, I think it just speaks volumes to where they are as a business and what the fans really want on 4K. So yes, Falchis Zombie on 4K, I highly recommend you check it out, and it is now available from Blue Underground. Blue Underground's release on 4K of Maniac Cop 2 and Maniac Cop 3 is something you should definitely see for yourself. Unfortunately, the label does not have the rights to the original Maniac Cop. Who knows actually who has them right at this point. But if you love the sequels, I would say more the second one than the third. Let's be honest, the third is but Maniac Cop 2 is a worthy follow to the original, and it looks stunning on 4K. I absolutely love how Dolby Vision makes this film look. colors pop off the screen, and those black levels are nice and deep. And that Atmos upgrade, it sounds great. It really brings a whole new life to the film. And, you know, going back to Uncle Sam, it's sort of the same kind of concept, but I feel that the second film, well, even also the third, look really good on 4K. They're excellent, just transfers. And of course, Blue Underground specializes in this type of film, and they do it very well. When you think about obscure sci-fi, but not so obscure that there isn't a following for it, and once again, cult classics, I feel, are what Blue Underground do really well. You can really, you know, find a movie such as The Final Countdown, definitely on a lot of people's list, and the 4K is gorgeous. This movie looks beautiful. I love just how, you know, the film setting really benefits from the HDR and Dolby Vision. It's just, I am just gushing over how good this film looks on 4K. And of course, the Atmos upgrade takes those sci-fi elements and gives them a little bit more elevation. And the overall packaging is excellent. Going back to lenticular, I think it has such a nice looking cover. And if you give score one, you know, that's definitely a cherry on top. The Final Countdown is a little lesser known sci-fi film, but I found it very enjoyable, and it just looks and sounds great on the 4K format. And Blue Underground did a really good job on this disc. And for my last recommendation, I want to talk about Blue Underground's release of Dead and Buried. For us physical media collectors, this was given an extra bit of a bonus because there were 3 different alternate covers for the 4K release. And I think, honestly, they all looked very good. Now, talking about the film's transfer, I loved it. Once again, leaning a little bit towards the horror atmospheric feel. It really does a great job with the Dolby Vision, especially the opening moments of the film, which are bright and cheerful, but then they shift over to a dark and moody atmosphere, and I think the Dolby Vision handles all aspects and looks of the film very well. And the Atmos upgrade, it's a very nice add-on. I think it really sounds good. It opens things up considerably. I really enjoyed the presentation here. It's a good horror thriller. Dead and Buried was given a very nice 4K release from Blue Underground, one that you should definitely check out for yourself. So those are 10 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray discs from Blue Underground you should definitely own. I highly recommend you check any of these films out. In fact, I will leave an Amazon link in the comments section, and if you use it, it really helps out the channel. Absolutely look into getting some of these discs. They're well worth your time, they're well worth your money, and I think really the label, it has a bright future, and I'm anxious to see what they have going forward. In the meantime, please like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. So until next time, this is Adam with Movie Guy 365. I will see you at the movies.